Broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of Gun Guy Radio is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. PatriotPatch.co.
Welcome to episode 232 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand, with co-host Zack Carlson. This is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. Hey, Zack, what's up?
Oh, not much. What's going on?
So, new week leading up to SHOT Show. You leave on a jet airplane soon.
Yep, in T-minus 48 hours. Oh, no, Monday morning. I don't want to calculate the hours. 72 hours, maybe, something like that. Yeah, we got to get there Monday. So, the first flight out of Spokane to Las Vegas.
Cool. So, you busy prepping for SHOT this week? What's up?
Yeah, this week I didn't do a whole lot of gun stuff during the week, but mainly prepping for SHOT. I mean, our crates had already left, so, you know, kind of what's out of your hands is what's out of your hands. But we wanted to display a whole bunch of more slides at the show. So we have like 3 carry-on size bags that are exactly 50 pounds loaded to the gills with slides that are going to get checked and taken on the airplane with us. Or not on the airplane, but, you know, under the airplane, I should say. And yeah, so it's been a hectic week getting all that stuff ready to go.
So Zach will spend some quality time with the TSA, I can see.
Well, that's why we made sure to pack all the frames, because there are no guns. These are just slides. So
well,
hopefully they
look like guns. I mean, they're scary.
Well, they're like half of a gun.
Oh, that's pretty scary. That's like halfway illegal, right?
Yeah, I think so. So we'll see. We'll see how this all goes. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, what have you been doing in guns?
Well, I'm not going to SHOT. No more SHOT Show for me. I'm worn out. That's
my choice. You opted out. You did the John Galt thing. You shrugged out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I ordered some of those Securite. You talked about revamping your safe with the Securite. What they call it, the safe.
Yeah, the gun retrofit or gun safe retrofit kits and all that with the rifle rests and pistol pegs and all that.
Right. So it added like a louver system to your back of your existing safe. So, and the cabinet I ordered, we talked about before, and it has a louvered system. It's a different louvered system because the Securite decided to, hey, let's be proprietary and not use a louver system everyone else uses. But I ordered some of their rifle rests, I guess, and they just sit on the ground or on a shelf. And I ordered the rifle standoffs with I think they have like a bungee, right?
Yeah, the bungees for mobile applications.
So I ordered like a multi-pack and then a couple of individuals to play around with and see what works, what I can make work in my system. I ordered the single slot louvered attachment, so I think it'll still work with the standard louvered system, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it'll work just fine, because when I tested it on our louver system at work, which is kind of how your cabinet is set up, it worked fine on the singles. It just when you started getting a bunch of rows in a spread, then they started the tolerance stacking started to add up, and it just was off.
Yeah, so I'll finally be able to add some rifles, and I got 2 like coach guns and stuff to get them put away. They're like all scattered around on shelves in here right now, so it's a little haphazard. So that'll be cool. Keep you guys posted on that. And Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out patriotpatch.co. We have some pretty cool cleaning mats over there, AR-15 themed and also AK-47 themed cleaning mats. And we have one pistol mat as well. So check it out, patriotpatch.co. For some of the best graphics in any cleaning mat out there, patriotpatch.co.
Yeah, I use the AK one on my bench every time.
Yeah, I've got the AR-15 one as my mouse pad in the office studio here, and then I've got the AK one as the mouse pad in the shipping center of Patriot Patch Co. And they work well for
what you eat.
For mouse pads too. Yeah, they're pretty great. Main topic this week, we're talking SHOT Show 2020. That's hard to say. 2020.
This year on 2020. Yes, I was getting, I kind of come and go with SHOT Show. This will be, I think, my 9th one or 10th one, whatever. I think nine. So, you kind of get old. It gets old after a while. You don't see a whole lot. People say, wow, there's no innovation, whatever. And so I kind of want to just put a little list together of things that as I was looking through the list of exhibitors. I was thinking attendees. I'm like, they're not attendees, they're exhibitors. Exhibitors, just trying to come up with a list of things that I see that I want to make sure I stop by and see and touch and take a look at. So I figured, we can go through some of those and see what you think and kind of go through some of your stuff.
Absolutely. So why don't we give people a brief overview what SHOT Show is for those that maybe never even heard of it?
Well, if you've never heard of SHOT Show, it stands for Shooting, Hunting, Outdoor Trade Show. It's basically it's like the biggest industry show for the gun industry. A lot of people go to the NRA annual meetings. That is basically, the NRA show is essentially the SHOT Show for the retail consumer. That as long as you're an NRA member, you can get in for free. SHOT Show is limited to industry personnel, so it's meant to kind of do business, but it's just 60,000 people all converging on Las Vegas and taking up every square inch of the Sands Expo Center. Actually, next year they're expanding. They built another building across where the parking lot was, and they have a sky bridge going across it. And I think they're calling it Caesars Forum or something like that. And they're expanding into that space too. So
wow,
it goes up to 5 levels. It's an insane situation, and it's just a bunch of people with a bunch of guns. And you get to kind of see the latest, greatest wares that the industry has to offer. And a lot of people hold their new product announcements to right around SHOT Show time. So it's a time to see a lot of new stuff.
Absolutely. And they kind of split it up too. There's like a big main area with the bigger companies mostly, and then there's like a tactical law enforcement area, and then there's there have been so many years of not having enough space, and if you were a new exhibitor and you had a new company or anything like that, it would be like a 5-year wait time, and that just doesn't last very long, because then people will find other ways to do stuff. So SHOT Show kind of got on the ball, and they started putting exhibit booths in the hallways, like literally in the hallways of the Sands Expo Center. And so like you could start getting these, they call them Next pavilions, which is just like little pop-up, like, like when you go to like Costco and they have a little Verizon guy sitting there or something, those little pop-up little stands. They have those basically in the 3rd floor. And then so you start there, then you can get a regular booth, and then you kind of move into as you get further and further in, you can submit change requests and get larger booths. And actually this year, Lone Wolf, who I'm going with and I work for, is moving into that big bay. We've always been in the law enforcement ballroom there, as you were talking about, which was good for a lot of reasons, and it was fine. But we decided we wanted to go in the big room this year, so we are at booth 15944. That's 15944. That's level 2. So there's like a basement, and the basement used to be kind of referred to as the dungeon. That was kind of where all the little fly-by-nighty type companies and these little tiny booths and all that. But really, if you go in there in the last few years, like that's where the action is happening. Like they're insane companies down there. That's where you're seeing the real innovation. You're seeing all these little companies that are popping off down there. I like going down into that level 1, and then level 2. The big area is just where the humongous companies are. That's where you see the humongous booths, the huge signs overhead. That's where the big flagship companies are. And so we'll be the smaller fish in that big pond, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So, Zach, can you remember back to your very first SHOT Show? Of course, you went as a company with your company for the first time.
Yeah, yeah. So you have the group of people that you're going with, and it's not as exciting, and you're working, and it was exciting. It was interesting to see, but it's work. It's a lot of work. So
yeah, it is a ton of work, and a lot of the people you see at any trade show like this, they're usually chained to the booth, and it's a completely different experience from the attendee. I was lucky enough that my first experience at SHOT was an attendee. And it turns out, even though it's industry only, if you have a podcast, this thing called a new media podcast, they let pretty much anyone in. And so,
you know what? So yeah, explain that process. You're supposed to be a media credentialed person, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah. So if you're in the media, whether it's a traditional gun writer and a lot of the traditional gun mags have gone away, but like Recoil magazine writer to like radio show, like a real radio show, like, you know, on AM, FM, all the way to bloggers, YouTubers, podcasters, and all of us, you know, we get the media credentials to go as media because we're supposed to be covering it as someone in the industry, you know, on the media side of the industry. So, you know, luckily enough, we had done the podcast, and we had even, I think, I can't remember the first time I went, if we just had Gun Guy Radio going or if we had the network going. Anyhow, but yeah, it's overwhelming. You walk in there, and it's just, you know, endless as far as you can see. Companies, all these booths and people, and it's crowded. I mean, there's a ton of people there.
So crowded.
Like, how many usually attend? Like 85,000 people or something like that? 60-ish thousand. I think I think it's been as high as 70. I think, but then I think last year was 64,000, something like that. But 64,000 people in 5 days, or actually 4 days, is a lot of people. And, you know, people want to drive their little milk carts on wheels around with all their free crap, and oh god, it gets ridiculous. It does. Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty cool experience though. And so let's talk about some of the things you hope to see this year, Zach. You got a whole list here. We'll run through that.
Yeah, I have a whole list, and this is in no particular order. Just kind of as I found the stuff, I just added to this list so I wouldn't forget. But you know, so everybody knows that I have that integrally suppressed CZ Scorpion, so I love the CZ Scorpion parts and what's kind of coming in and out of that industry. Since I have that integral, it's kind of married to me now. You know, I'm stuck with it at this point if you do all the tax stamps and everything. So most of my CZ parts in the past have come from HB Industries, and I love that company. I love all the products I've gotten from them. But on the 1022 side, I had a lot of tandem cross parts, and I love those parts too. Well, now my peanut butter has hit my chocolate here, and Tandem Cross is also making CZ Scorpion parts. So it's kind of the same parts I already have. You know, I don't plan on changing and just abandoning the HB, but you know, they're making a compensator, they're making a extended mag release, a victory trigger, safety delete, you know, this kind of standard bread and butter parts. So I'm just curious to see what it is. I really like the feel of the victory trigger that is on my 1022, and this looks like the same style trigger, but for the Scorpion. And it's supposedly adjustable for pre-travel, which is kind of nice because it does seem to have a bit of pre-travel on the Scorpion. But I'm just kind of curious to see what Tandem Cross has for that, and just kind of see what other parts I'm missing out on.
Cool.
I'm assuming you'll probably use some Tandem Cross parts when you build your 1022 project that you're working on.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I need to start, you know, outlining what to do with that now that I got the receiver. I definitely want to build it into a pistol. So
yeah, it's got lots of stuff. And speaking of that 1022, the same company that I have the Scorpion Integral from and my 223 can in Innovative Arms, they have a 1022 Integral, and I think I want to go look at it. Hopefully they have one on display. I didn't verify that they were bringing one to SHOT Show, but either way, I'll go talk to them about it. They make them on pretty much anything, but the one I'm specifically looking at is on the takedown. And I think we talked about this last episode, just for a machine gun project, so you can take it apart and clean the barrel really fast because the machine guns tend to foul a lot more because you're just shooting so many more rounds. So super excited about that. And then actually another thing from Innovative Arms is I saw that their CZ Scorpion Integrals they're showing now have a heat shield around the rail. And that was one of my my only gripe with the whole setup is just the heat transfer. So I'm going to see if I can get that heat shield as a separate item because that would be really, really nice. So another one, we've talked about HoloSuns. You actually own a 507C as well, right?
Yep.
And they are teasing all sorts of things on the Instagrams. So they look like they have it almost looks like a Shield competitor. They're kind of just teasing it right now, but I see an integrated machined sight into the back of the body of the optic. I've seen one that was a closed emitter design on a pistol, kind of like the Aimpoint Acro. So I just want to make sure I stop by Holosun and see all the goodness that they have going on. And that's the thing too with Holosun, they have so many different models with so many different feature sets. So I know they have them all on display there. So it's just nice just to kind of finagle with everything and just pull them all up to your eye, see what you like, what you don't. If I was smart enough, I would have waited to buy all those green dot ones on my carbines before until I saw them, because I would have not liked the purple tint to the glass. So I should have remembered that from SHOT Show previously, but I didn't. So that's what I want to make sure. They're also coming out with a lot of yellow or gold dot, amber dot optics. So I want to see if that has any glass tint issues and all that kind of stuff. But so just Holosun in general, want to see what they've got going on. And then have you heard of this company, this Revolutionary Roller Locks? I don't think anybody has yet.
No. What is it?
I just happened to see it in the new product center, and it's essentially, I don't know, it kind of looks like they're making a modular chassis style MP5s. Like they're showing an MP5 with a full like upper extruded aluminum chassis system with like an actual, it kind of looks like an ACR stock. Yeah, I think it is an ACR stock actually. It's an insane looking MP5 system, and then they have it 9mm. They said they're going to come out with an integrally suppressed 9mm, and then says coming soon a 300 blackout version. But it just looks cool because the hard part with the MP5, I love the MP5 look, like how it all looks, but it's not super practical for accessories, mounting, and all that stuff. So maybe they're solving this with this chassis system. I don't know. It could be vaporware. It could be totally crap. I don't know yet, but it looks like a brand new gun. So
yeah, because do they only have artist renditions on their website?
Yeah, I believe so. But I'm assuming they're going to have something showing in reality there. So I guess we'll see. And really, it said like $2,700, something like that. And that sounds like a lot, but that's what the HK version of it is retailing for. So I mean, it seemed kind of right in line there. So. I don't know what it is. I know nothing about it other than it caught my eye and I thought, well, I want to go take a look at that. And then, on my 6.5 Creedmoor rifle, I'm using that KRG Bravo stock. It's kind of like a stock chassis hybrid where it has that backbone and it has a plastic stock over it. They announced a few things, actually. I just put a link to their Instagram because there's some stuff there that they're showing off. And I originally set this one up for the X-Ray Gen 4. So they haven't actually put a picture of it on. They did a teaser with like snow cover on it. So I want to see what that looks like and feel that one in my hand, because I want to see what the extra money is going from the Bravo, that is like a $350 stock system, to the X-Rays, which are a bit more expensive. So I want to see what you feel different with those. Mm-hmm. But then just today they posted a picture of a 1022 Bravo stock. And then just the day before, they posted a CZ 457 Bravo stock. So it seems like they're Bravoing everything here, and I'm curious to see what it is. The 1022, obviously, I believe is their first auto loader Bravo stock. So it's kind of a traditional bolt action style chassis stock system, but we're curious what it's like with the 1022. And I did confirm with them that they will have that at SHOT Show. So I'd like to put hands on that and see. I guess my only concern would be just making the gun too heavy. But it might be a cool competitor to the Magpul stock that I'm using right now on the 1022.
Yeah.
So that's KRG, Kinetic Research Group. They're actually a local company up in Idaho here. And then I know we kind of mentioned it a little bit before, but I am looking for a high-power compact scope. And there's a couple different versions that I think we can hit. The EOTech Voodoo 5-25, it is super compact. I have no idea how they make it that compact, but I have seen that one last year at SHOT Show at the EOTech booth, or the Voodoo booth, whatever. And I looked at it. I was impressed with it, but now that I'm like further into it and I have more background knowledge, I want to go back and just really look at it, play with all the magnification settings, play with the turrets, and just kind of really get a feel for what it really is, and see if if my memory's off or if it really is what I was thinking it was. And then on that same token is the Leupold Mark V HDs. I think the Mark 6s as well. But any of those Leupolds that are short and they look short and squat. I think those even a 35 millimeter tube, I think, or something like that. They're just a thicker, squattier scope. And I just think that like long range scopes look odd on AR-15s because when the objective end, is almost to the end of your rail, that just seems weird to me. So having a short light scope is ideal. And these aren't cheap scopes either. I mean, these are $2,000 scopes. So I really want to see it before I buy one.
Do the longer scopes make you feel uncomfortable? I mean, what's the real issue here, Zach?
Well, it's not so much the size of the scope; it's how you use it. So, I mean,
touche.
So no, and it's very hard to find a store that stocks these. I mean, there's not. I mean, around here, I don't know about. Well, probably for you too, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, not a whole lot of companies are just going to have $2,000 scopes just sitting there ready for the.
Right. Would either of these be at like someplace like a Cabela's? Because I have a Cabela's within like 45 minutes or an hour of me.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look. It's been a while since I've been in a Cabela's, like years. So I know they had like ACOGs when I went last time, and that's a fairly expensive, scope for a lot of people. But I don't know. It just seems like something I want to just play with and see and plot for my future. And then this next one caught me by surprise. I was not thinking of this. It's not even on my radar, but it piques my interest, is the Savage 110 Ultralights. Have you seen these at all? These are basically, it looks like a standard Savage 110, but it comes from the factory with a proof research barrel. Carbon fiber barrel, I should say, sorry. A carbon fiber proof research barrel, which normally that barrel is like $1,000 by itself, I think. Somewhere in there, I mean, they're expensive barrels. And if you're getting it on a gun that I think retails for $1,400,
$1,499,
yeah. I mean, I think that's a really good way to do it because that's the problem with a lot of those barrels is like, you could buy the blanks, but then you have to pay a gunsmith to fit it for you and do all that rigmarole to it. And if you could buy it from the factory and be done with it, and this is a super light gun. I think it's 5.8 pounds, but that includes a 22-inch barrel. I mean, that's pretty impressive. They didn't sacrifice the barrel length just to get the weight down. I was looking at the Barrett Fieldcrafts, which also are in the 5.2 pound range, I believe. but they're using 18 or 21-inch barrels, depending on the size. And they're super thin profile barrels, and it's proprietary action, and it becomes a lot more complex. But it's a super light barrel with the factory action, and like you can get Savage 110 stuff anywhere. Like the triggers are available, the scope bases, stocks, anything. So it seems like one of those rifles you could buy for the original intention, and then still have room and runway to grow with it, other than just like buying a one and done rifle, which. I change almost everything I buy, so it seemed like a kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah. What box mags do these use?
Oh, that is a good question. Let's see what it says. I didn't actually look at that part.
It just generically says comes with detachable box mag. It doesn't say what it's compatible with or not.
It doesn't look like a traditional like AICS style mag or anything like that. So it's probably, I'm guessing it's probably proprietary, which may be a negative, but I don't know, with a really lightweight gun like that, you're typically not running big 10 round mags, and that kind of defeats the purpose of the weight saving.
Sure. Yeah.
But I would assume it's super accurate, super light for what it is. Seems like an ideal rifle. I have absolutely no use for it. Like I don't think I'll buy it, but I do want to play with it.
Yeah.
And then speaking of no use for it, but seems really cool, is the SIG cross rifle. Now, I don't know if you pay attention, but the Q Fix, the quote unquote revolutionary rifle from Q, this looks like a direct competitor / knockoff / Q killer. I don't know what you'd call it, but it looks like a lot of the features that the Q offers. I'm not going to say it's pound per pound the same, but it looks very similar, and it should be a whole lot cheaper because I think the Fix is like $3,200 or something like that. So this should be a lot cheaper than that, and kind of similar in its way. And you're also backed by SIG, which I guess you'd say is a good thing, but I guess I don't know if you want to buy this one after the first set of recalls or before or after, but it seems like a cool rifle. It's basically a chassis gun with a fully adjustable hinge stock. Looks like a monolithic upper with the rail system attaching to it. And I believe this is like the fix, whereas it's not a receiver laid into a chassis. I believe it's all one kind of unit to kind of save some weight and get more strength out of it. I believe that's what it's like. Yeah, free floated barrel. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be very, very popular at the show, so it might take a minute to actually get to it.
It's really cool. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, I mean, it says 6.5 pounds. That's pretty cheap pretty light for a full chassis rifle, and they're saying estimated $1,600 street price. So I mean, that's literally half the price of a Q fix.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, SIG has really, in the last 5 years or so, has really come out with some pretty cool stuff that you wouldn't think a big company like SIG would even be looking at.
Yeah, I don't know. SIG has never made well, no, that's not true. I don't think of them as a bolt action rifle company at all.
No,
but maybe they've made them, somewhere else and just not sold here. I don't know, so I won't say. But so that's very interesting to see. SIG's booth is usually humongous, so it's always interesting to see what they've got out there. They're one of the booths that I always think, man, I want to get a 226 again, or I want to get a 228 or something like that. And then I go handle them, and I'm just like, yeah, this gun's too big and bulky for what it is. Like, it's not. It's a cool classic gun, and it's a cool like movie gun, but I mean, there's no practical use for it for me.
Right.
But speaking of no practical use, the Ruger 5.7, like 10 shows ago, if you would have told me that Ruger was going to come out with a 5.7 pistol, I would have said, where would you even come up with that idea? Like, what would you think? Why? But it seems like, are we in a 5.7 sans, like a renaissance for 5.7?
Maybe. I mean, I do need to get a P90 at some point, and I think the Ruger is a better companion for it because it's way cheaper and it looks pretty cool than FN's own 5.7 pistol.
Yeah, the FN is just a weird beast anyways. I mean, just the way the recoil spring operates, the spring goes around the barrel shaft. It's a very unique kind of pistol design, but the Ruger, I mean, the one thing you'll know about Ruger is they'll just make a boatload of them, so they'll sell them every gun store out there. So I don't know if that will help the ammunition costs, because I think that's probably still one of the biggest issues with the 5.7 is just getting ammo for it, and that's
right,
cheap enough to really shoot it with efficiency.
Does companies like Arms Corps make cheaper 5.7 now? Or is there any cheaper?
I don't
makers?
know, but they may make it, but they also have a vested interest not to seeing this succeed because
true.
they have the 22 TCM, which is kind of a 5.7 competitor. But really, it says 20 plus 1 in a pistol grip. It should be essentially no recoil. It's probably going to be really loud, but I wonder if this will also then create more people shooting rimfire cans that are 5.7 rated, and if they'll work.
You know what this really is? This is more armor-piercing rounds for the big igloo.
Oh, okay. Big igloo. Is that the new code word for it?
Well, it has to be because they've already flagged the other code words, so we have to keep rotating through the code words.
I gotta consult my manual and get my decoder ring out and figure out what the word of the day is.
Well, I think the best thing about Ruger doing this is that you're right; they will make a bunch of them, and that may spur on some aftermarket support for it as well, which you won't necessarily see for. Other companies doing, if another company did this, they wouldn't make nearly as many as Ruger will.
Yeah, I don't think Ruger would do it if they didn't think there was a market for it. Like, they don't seem stupid in that regard. Like, I think they're the biggest manufacturer of USA made guns, right? I think they take the top spot in quantity of produced firearms.
They could be. I don't know offhand. I mean, they definitely make a lot of different things very well. I mean, it's not a company. I mean, we're just talking about SIG. I mean, while Ruger has had recalls, you don't think of them as the recall king or anything.
No, and they're known to have, a value oriented product line. Like it's something that anybody can afford pretty much. And so hopefully that carries through, and I don't know, maybe they'll put some pressure on the ammo companies to produce more volume of ammo to support their sales channel and do something about it. But it's just interesting. I don't know what I would use it for. I don't know what they think people are going to use it for.
Well, I hope this is a precursor to them releasing some carbines in 5.7. Because that would be cool.
And that's what I'm wondering if they saw, because CMMG did the Banshees in 5.7, so that was, I believe, last year, and then this just recently they announced conversion kits for ARs to shoot 5.7, which it's always just been an upper. So I don't know what the whole deal there was, but so maybe that they're just seeing more and more industry support for it. I don't really know. It's not a cartridge I really want to invest heavily in, but it's a cool novelty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might be good for your possum situation.
20 rounds. Yeah, that could help.
Yeah. It'd probably make them explode.
That's what I need. I mean, that last one, man. Would you die already?
The next one on my list here is the HK SP5. This is kind of their real MP5 gun. Instead of the SP9K or whatever, the kind of neutered MP5 that they had before this. This is like the legit version of it. And it's $26.53, so it's right there in that same price range as that revolutionary roller lock.
It's at a legit H&K price point as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money for sure. And it doesn't even come with a brace or anything for that price either, which is kind of crazy. But so expect to pay a couple $100 more to get a good SB tactical brace on it, or SBR it, or whatever you're going to do.
They're not going to sell it with they're H&K. They only sell things the way that they're meant to be used, which is with a lanyard. Of course, the way the 1980s H&K operators operated.
I think it's just a good sign, but I hope it really pushes the other people in the market to come to terms with what the prices should be. Like, why are you going to pay that much for a Zenith gun? Yeah, it's made on the same tooling, quote unquote, tooling from Turkey and all that, but like, if you can get the real thing from HK proper, how can you justify that price being so close to HK's price? Yeah,
there's no way.
So hopefully it does that. Hopefully it spurs on more aftermarket support, more mag availability, just more of everything. And I think it will. Now that I have my CZ, I don't think I need one, but I wouldn't mind having one in the future. Okay, so now we're in a little bit of rumor territory here. Have you seen this rumor? Did you see it before today?
No, not before today. Did this just break today? No.
This is from December 10th, technically. So there's a post on Recoil Web about a bunch of predictions of Glocks, and it's not just pulling it out of their butt, but halfway down the page there is a screenshot of a model G49 Gen 5 10mm 8+1 rounds 4-inch barrel with 3 8-round mags, and it says front serrations 10mm. So it looks like a legit UPC number, manufacturer model number. So I guess we'll see, but can you imagine a single stack 10mm 8-round gun? I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you're a real boomer, you'd want it in a 1911, but you can do a Glock.
Well, if you're a real boomer, you don't even want to buy a Glock regardless. So.
Right.
But I think, when I used to get the sales numbers from distributors, the G20s and the 10MMs are the 2920s are like the least sales amount of all the Glocks. Like they're kind of the orphan child, but that was last time I checked was also before, Ruger started making a 10mm revolver and all these other 10MMs are starting to come back around. So maybe they're seeing it and just want to capitalize on it. I don't know. Maybe it's totally just BS and we'll never see it, or maybe it's for another market or something. Who knows? But if we do see something like this, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I could see it being pretty cool. I mean, go 10 mil or go home, right?
I like the little 29. I had a 29 Gen 4. I've had multiples of them actually, and I think they're controllable. I never had a really problem with them. I actually had more problems with the G30s, the 45 ACP version of the G29. It seemed to slap my pinky way worse than the 10mm version did for whatever reason. maybe it's just me and how I was holding it or whatever, but it seems like I never could shoot them as well. But
because
we're just talking about
45 is only meant to go on a 1911 Zach. That's why.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Well, speaking of Glocks, are you excited about the Glock 44 at all?
No.
The 22 pistol?
Nobody is. Nobody is.
I'll bet you they still sell a bunch of them, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, it's like Taylor Swift fans. I mean, if Taylor Swift releases another album, of course they're going to buy it.
What do you got against Tay-Tay? Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. We've got a couple on order at the shop just to start playing with reverse engineering and see what parts fit and what not. But I don't see myself buying one right away. I'm pretty happy with the Taurus TX22 or whatever it is. So I'll probably stick with that. But if it wins me over, it'd probably win me over.
Now, so here's a little bit different take for me on the Glock 22 is that you know how popular carbines that take Glock mags are just because they take the Glock mag. Well, the 22 could turn into that as well, where other guns taking this new Glock 22 mag may be the new standard eventually. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it looks like maybe the trigger shoe might be the same because Apex just put a photo out on Instagram today that had a Glock 44 with their trigger installed on it. So I don't know if it was a custom trigger they made just for SHOT Show, or if they just got one in advance enough to swap it on. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I think it would be kind of interesting to have a gun equipped the same as your carry gun. I don't know. We'll see. The next one, did we talk about this at all before? I don't remember the Colt Python being reintroduced. Yeah, we talked about it during the collectors, the investment. That's what it was.
Yep.
I still want to go play with one and just feel it and play with it and see what.
We've heard some bad news about them already, so I am curious.
Yeah. Bring us up to speed on that. I've just kind of heard murmurings. I haven't really been following it very closely. What have you heard?
Well, that the fitment's just not there, and that they're far inferior to the old Pythons. I didn't click into any of the videos, but yeah, that's what I've been hearing. So we'll see.
It baffles me that they can't get the fit and finish right because it's all CNC. Like as long as they're changing their tooling and keeping up on it, like it should be pretty much the same every time, right?
Well, you'd think. I mean, I don't know. Did they just refire up the old tooling and not do new tooling, or?
Well, they redesigned the trigger, right? So, or maybe that was the problem. Maybe they redesigned the trigger but made it wrong or something, or made it worse. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things where, like, how it's not cool to work at Microsoft when Apple's around or something like that. Maybe it's people don't want to work at Colt when SIG is right down the road, or those kind of things. Maybe it's they're not drawing the top talent or something. I don't know. I have no insight into that.
Colt's hiring all the McDonald's workers now.
Wow. Good thing you're not going to SHOT Show and get beat up by some Colt employees. Don't worry, I'll give them your address.
Thanks.
So yeah, I still want to see what the whole deal is about. I mean, the good news is whatever issues, they probably can figure that out, and that's kind of one of those things you probably don't want to buy a first run of anything for the most part in just about any industry. And maybe that's what's holding true here. Who knows? The next one, I know we kind of started on CZs, and I'll kind of towards the end here, I'll end on a CZ. Have you ever seen the Shadow 2? Have you played with the Shadow 2? Have you fondled one? You ever held one?
I don't remember. Maybe.
So the Shadow 2 is, I've never shot one. I've played with one. I've just at shows played with them. They just seem amazing. They just feel like, I think they're meant for competition and target shooting primarily. Like that's where a lot of the aftermarket is geared towards them, is just competition guns. Right. They just feel fantastic in your hand. But traditionally they're a DASA gun. So they have a trigger reach that is a little bit far. They have that far forward trigger. And it looks like this year CZ is doing a single action only model, the Shadow 2 SA. So I don't know what parts are interchangeable or whatnot with the existing aftermarket, but it looks outwardly the same except for the trigger hanging down out of there, but the grips all look the same, the sights and everything looks the same. But I think the SAO conversion gives you a lighter trigger and a easier to reach trigger. it looks fantastic. The gun is heavy, and that's what it's kind of meant for. Like I really wanted one of those SIG P210s when they came out. I just can never find one. We bought one here at the office, so we have one as a shotgun, and it's so accurate. But it's it's an 8 or 10 round single stack, full size 9mm single action gun. So it's kind of like a niche and a niche and a niche kind of gun. And this Shadow just seems like you get a lot of the benefits of the SIG, but a little more practicality in it as well.
It's a pretty gun. I mean, it's pretty cool looking.
It's beautiful. I mean, they have these machined aluminum grips in this like icy blue color for people that aren't seeing it. I think they also offer it with a black grip, if I remember right. But the blue grips look really good. So that's one of the guns I want to. It's one of those things. Another thing too is like I have no practical use for it. The P10 series of guns that I have, I've got 3 of them now. Pretty much cover all my needs in a 9mm pistol, but I guess if I got into competition or if I really wanted a target focused gun, maybe I'd buy one, but they're just so beautiful.
I just hope Black Hawk makes a Serpa for it.
You would. Well, I said the CZ was beautiful, and I think the next one we go the opposite direction. Did you let me know it? Did you see this?
Whose basement is this made in?
It does. Well, some guy in Phoenix, Arizona. This is is it Altor? ALTOR, Altor Corporation. I don't know how to explain this. This looks like a zip gun, basically. I mean, it's a simple gun. I'll give it that for sure. It's essentially a plastic handle that has a little crossbolt safety on it, and it has a striker assembly in it. And you essentially pull the barrel off of the gun. It's a single shot 9mm or 380. So I would probably do the 9mm. You pull the barrel off and you slip the cartridge in the breech face, and then you slip the barrel back over it and lock it on. And then the quote unquote trigger is basically just hooked to the striker, and you pull the striker back and let it go like a slingshot. So, and I think this, for me, I'm going to look at it and talk to him and make sure you could thread the barrel. But I think this would be a cool suppressor host.
What?
Can you imagine how quiet it's got to be? It's only like a 2-inch barrel, and the gun is only like $120, something like that.
I thought you were going to say it's like the perfect drop gun.
Well, that too, probably, but it just seems like it would be a cool novelty suppressor.
There's nothing cool about this.
Okay, it'd be an interesting novelty suppressor host.
No.
I think it might be a kind of a guy in his garage, just based on the videos that they're on the website and everything, and the website quality itself. But it's kind of interesting. You rotate the barrel to 2 notches for fire and safe as well. And then there's a crossbolt safety on the striker assembly. So there's that.
They have a link called Firing Snake Shot, which is a video. And then LE backup. And then, oh my God.
Well, do they mean like backup when like you didn't have probable cause and you suddenly need probable cause?
Yeah. I'm thinking that. Yeah, the holster recommendations are nearly as bad.
The holster recommendation is, I think, I clicked it earlier. I'm going to click it again to make sure. Yeah, it's basically, it's like they talk about like an Uncle Mike's universal fabric holster, and it's you know what this gun looks like? I don't know if you've ever bought those plastic handles that you can snap on the top of a spray paint can so you don't get your finger full of spray paint. It looks like the most basic of plastic handles. There's no trigger or anything. It's just a little lump of plastic that hangs down. There's no trigger guard, no nothing. And the barrel looks like an AR-15 barrel that they just didn't have a collar for the barrel nut to lock onto, and they just cut it right after the chamber.
Is there even a front sight? There's just like 2 nubs on the back.
Nah, this is not an aiming gun. I mean, how can the trigger assembly even get you on target. Like it looks like it's a full 1.5 inch travel on the trigger.
I mean, I think people would have a better luck with a gun like this if instead of the slingshot method, if you had to like depress it like a nail gun or something into your target for it to fire.
Yeah, well, I don't give any ideas. But this gun is, I don't know. It's just something about it. Like, it just seems so interesting.
That's one way to describe it.
This just reminds me of like a guy that had an idea and he did it. Like, he did it. He made a gun. Like, I don't know.
Wow, and that. So this is one of the things I want to stop seeing at SHOT Show is ridiculous, dumb innovations like this. That sure, you could call it innovation, but it's the innovation nobody asked for, but maybe we deserve. I don't know. It's just awfulness like this. And if you go down in the basement of the SHOT Show, you can still find booths with other stuff like this as well. Which you'll probably see a couple shows in a row and then they'll just disappear.
Yeah, some of those booths are just kind of sad. Like when there's nobody there and you walk by and they look super desperate and you just try not to make eye contact with them because you don't want to engage in any kind of conversation. You just kind of look and you quickly keep walking. I typically run down the aisles, and if something catches my eye, that's when I stop and look and talk to somebody. But I hope for the best for the guy, but I just want to see if it's even possible. Is there enough meat on that bone to thread it 0.5x28 and throw a suppressor on it?
You go for it.
Okay.
He'll be the only customer of his that did that for sure. So, I was remembering back. I had a Facebook, remember when on Facebook, SHOT Show. I think my first SHOT Show was like 7 or 8 years ago, and I had a memory pop up where I was holding that double 1911. Who made that? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. Arsenal.
Yeah. It was a year they came out with that double 1911. And I don't know if you can even buy that now or ever, but it was cool to hold and play with and stuff. So that goes back to the ridiculous innovation. I mean, there's that double AR-15 out there too.
They did a new version of that for this year. That's the Gilboa Snake or something like that.
Right.
I think they're doing it in 22 long rifle now. I think that's what it was. They're doing it in some other caliber now that they actually announced that in the new product center.
So they're still around. That's interesting. But then I remember back to companies that are pretty legitimately innovative, like Black Aces Tactical, their magazine fed Remington 870 mod.
Yeah, I remember those. But didn't that largely get kind of superseded when they started doing it from the factory? Like when the Mossberg came out with the mag versions and all that. That's the problem with these little companies, these poor companies that do these innovations. They bootstrap it, and then the big OEMs just come in and be like, "Oh yeah, thanks." I mean, that happened to Lone Wolf with the long slides. I mean, we sold Glock Reps slides at SHOT Show, and then a couple years later, the G40 comes out. Yep. Like, hey, what the heck? And the G41. But I guess it happens to everybody.
Well, I mean, now they've kind of pivoted where they have the bullpups now, and then they have a little more refined versions of the magazine feed stuff as well. But that's a company that I remember. They could barely throw together a booth. And a lot of the stuff they had was very prototypey, but they persevered, and they're still around today, and they're still coming out with new products today. And so it's neat to see companies like that as well.
Yeah, I think you have to give it to anybody that's willing to go to SHOT Show and display. Did we talk about shipping charges with SHOT Show? Mm-mm. So I don't think people realize how expensive SHOT Show is. I mean, everything is expensive there. And this is just one simple example of how expensive it is. We have 3 crates that get shipped to SHOT Show. They're 4 foot by 4 foot by 9 foot tall. They're just wooden crates. I put them on a truck and a trailer that was a dedicated truck where it's the guy driving his rig from North Idaho to Vegas. That trip cost us $2,000 one way. To get it from the warehouse in Las Vegas to unhook it from his truck to pull it off of the forklift and put it into our booth was $5,000.
Jeez.
That is how crazy it is. I can travel thousands of miles with it for $2,000, but to get it a mile or two, however long it takes to get it on a forklift and move it over to the booth, is $4,910.
Well, part of the problem, if I understand right, once it gets to Vegas, that's all union labor and everything.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
And then, are you guys even allowed to set up part of your booth, or
We are able to, because you don't need any like rigging equipment or anything. But if you have any kind of overhead sign or any kind of advanced electrical stuff, yeah, you're paying for that. We had to pay the carpet layers to lay a carpet and electrical down for us. But yeah, our booth is a no tool booth. You don't have to, screw it all together. It has hand tightened junctions and all that. So, but yeah, there's people that pay an astronomical amount of money to be there. So anybody, even a 10-foot booth is expensive. So these people that are taking it on and taking a week out of their productivity schedule, you got to at least hear them out and see what they have to show you.
Well, and then it's for small companies like this, like anyone with a small booth, if it's only a couple guys running the company, I mean, that's like a whole, it's not just the week you're at the show, it's a week or weeks leading up to the show and the week after the show. I mean, it's just this giant time suck ordeal where you're not working on your company, you're not working on customer service stuff. If you're a small company, that's all you got is just a couple guys. And so, that whole aspect of it is just terribly hard as well.
And even attendees are running that same thing. My buddy Dan that runs Larson Weapons and Axis, they take their whole shop with them. I mean, like the whole crew goes, and so that store is effectively shut down for the week. So they're losing a week of revenue just to attend the show. But that's where they go and make the deals and find out what their customers are going to want for the next coming year and start bringing in product and do all the business. So it's critical to function to be really in the cutting edge of things.
Yeah, for sure. If you're in any kind of company where it's a actual gun company or accessory company or anything that's hands-on like that, at some point you have to do some kind of show where people can give you feedback and get hands-on themselves.
And it's just a great place to meet contacts and have contacts for the future. There's so many things that I've met people that I don't need them right then, but in the next couple of years, I'm sure I've needed them in multiple cases.
Oh, please. I know you're just going to see the gun bunnies.
Yeah. That's one thing that has changed. I think that the gun bunny culture is less so, or at least the models and booths and stuff like that. Like, there's less and less of just scantily clad women handing out catalogs like that. It's really kind of gotten, maybe they've had a Me Too moment, I don't know, but it's definitely tapered off, it looks like, or it seems like.
Oh, very cool. So you'll have to give us feedback once you're back from SHOT. We won't have a show next week because you will be gone, and I don't play with guns anymore. So... So yeah, we'll be back after that and share your experiences. But for now, you can go check out Patriot Patch Code, see some awesome patches. Many include guns. Check out the Patch of the Month Club at patriotpatch.co. We soon be launching the February Patch of the Month release there, patriotpatch.co. And if you're looking for website design, graphics design, head over to hunterofdesign.com. Ryan Cross runs Hunter of Design. He does all the awesome patch design at Patriot Patch, but if you need any kind of artwork, hit him up over at hunterofdesign.com.
And Ryan will be at SHOT Show manning the Grey Ghost Precision booth, right? And will he have any Patriot patches to, if you harass him enough, you can shake him out like a leprechaun?
Funny you say that. He will be at the Grey Ghost Precision booth, chained to the counter. But we made the Grey Ghost patches this year, so that's one
nice
Patriot Patch, co-patch you can check out. We made one or two. I can't. I think we might have made two different ones actually. So yeah, ask him if they have any left. Beg him. And then, Zach, remind people what booth you'll be at and where people can connect with you online.
I will be in and out of the booth. I mainly walk the floor these days, meeting with contacts and stuff, but we are Lone Wolf booth 15944. 15944, that's level 2, the big exhibit hall. Kind of, if you're looking at it, more the east side, basically, of the booths. And then you can always find my links at YouTube and RangeHot. There's a link in the show notes at Gun Guy Radio. Is it GunGuyRadio.com or Firearm Radio TV/Gun Guy?
FirearmsRadio.tv will get you there. You can click on Gun Guy Radio on the front page. You can send us feedback to GunGuyRadio@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out all the other awesome shows here on the Firearms Radio Network. Well, thank you, Zach.
Thanks. See you in a couple weeks.
See you then.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.